All right, welcome in. It's a Monday, and this is the Sports Huddle on SEMO ESPN Radio. You can always find us at 1220 AM, 93.5 FM, and online at SEMOESPN.com. Eric Shawn, lead singer of the Mike Rennick Band, is in studio, and as always, we want you to be a part of the presentation. Our EBOMD Huddle hotline number is 573-334-1220. 573-334-1220. The Huddle hotline powered by EBOMD. No Marty Mishout today, out of pocket. We'll check in with Marty a little bit later on in the week. Crank up a Marty party. Easy for me to say. And Mr. Michael Rennick had a wonderful weekend, I assume.
You can have a Marty party any day, can't you?
That's true.
Doesn't have to be just on a Monday.
Now, we've got a party tomorrow.
That's right.
The SEMO Ball Awards people will be in here, and Jamie Phillips and I'm guessing Caden Carper will be in here from SEMO Ball. We'll get the spring nominees for all the spring sports for the SEMO Ball Awards, and then in the second half of the show, the SEMO Athletics Director, Brady Barkey, is going to join us and tell us what the House settlement ruling from the judge means. He is, I think, attending some meetings regarding that. What does it mean for college athletics in his estimation? And what does it mean for mid-major programs, or if you want to say low-major, however you want to phrase it, Ohio Valley Conference level schools like SEMO.
And probably even Missouri Valley Conference level, right?
Yeah.
I mean, basically the get out of the Power 5 conferences, and how does it impact everybody?
So schools are going to be paying athletes directly. I think there's a $20.5 million cap on what they can pay. Obviously, most of that money for the major programs is going to go to football players. So we'll see how it shakes out, how it affects SEMO, and if it's derogatory towards SEMO, we're still going to get some lawsuits involving. The lawsuits are coming. There will be some tweaks. The NCAA is no longer going to regulate penalties. I think there's going to be another organization that is going to do that. It's just a completely changing landscape in college athletics.
It's a little bit of the Wild West, it seems like, you know? And, I mean, here was the NCAA, nothing ever got past the NCAA, right? I mean, if you looked at somebody wrong, you lost a year of eligibility, and there's laying down for everything. It seems like. I mean, they have settle.
Yeah,
basically.
Well, their legal team has just told them you're not going to win.
Yeah,
so you better get a settlement.
Yeah.
So we'll get more into that. What does it mean for college athletics? You said the Missouri Valley Conference, along with the OVC, how does it affect that type and that level of conference? Well, the Missouri Valley Conference is still alive in the NCAA College Baseball Super Regionals. Murray State, after losing Game 1 to Duke, best of 3, all of the other Super Regionals are over. Everyone has advanced to Omaha. One more team will advance, and it will be Murray State or Duke. It is going to be on the big ESPN tonight at 6 o'clock. Murray State and Duke, as Murray State fell behind 2-0 yesterday to Duke in the first inning. Murray got 3 in the bottom of the first, 2 in the second, and then they went nuts. 5 runs in the fourth, and then the big inning, 9 runs in the 7th inning for Murray State. They beat Duke 19-9. And, when the pitching gets thin, and it's thin for Murray, probably thinner than Duke, you got to slug your way. It's just the way it is. And right now, Murray State is slugging.
Yeah, I was keeping an eye on that game yesterday. I didn't Didn't watch it, was just doing a few things. I kept kind of opening up one of the apps on my phone, checking the score, and that seventh inning, just kept going and going, and they weren't updating the score. Then all of a sudden, the inning flips, and they've got 19 runs or whatever.
It's unbelievable.
Couldn't believe it. Our friend Dr. Seth Hudson, who called in, is there watching his alma mater.
He is in
take on Duke.
Really?
Yeah.
Let's see. Cameron. No. Why am I saying Cameron?
I don't know.
Durham. I'm sorry. Durham. Cameron is their basketball arena. Durham, North Carolina. I wanted to say Chapel Hill. That's the University of North Carolina, the Tar Heels. So Murray State, they've got a puncher's chance, don't they?
I think almost more than that. Given their ability to score runs, and I just think, like you said, here you are, game 3. They're going to be throwing everything they can, obviously, at it, as is Duke. But no, I think they got a really good shot.
So the teams that advanced on Saturday, the team that advanced was Coastal Carolina, the Chanticleers, and it's the first time that they, Mike, have been to Omaha since 2016. And for those that don't follow college baseball very closely, that year they won the national championship, Coastal Carolina. Their facilities are phenomenal. They're a big-time program in baseball, and they're getting better in all their athletics, including football. So yesterday, Arkansas eliminated Tennessee. They're in. Arizona clipped North Carolina 4-3. LSU steamrolled West Virginia. Oregon State 14-10 over Florida State. So the Beavers are in. UTSA, it was a good run for the Roadrunners of Texas San Antonio, but they got shut out by UCLA, 7-0. UCLA makes it. And Louisville, those were some really good games in that particular super regional. Louisville beats Miami 3-2. The Cardinals have advanced.
So obviously, it's going to be either Duke or Murray. Is Arkansas the favorite, you think, going into the World Series?
Boy, I can say you can make an argument for that. LSU looks pretty good. They're scoring a lot of runs, and they did not lose to West Virginia. I don't know who's the favorite. I would say Arkansas. If I was putting money on who would emerge, I think I may put it on Arkansas.
And that format, is that it's traditional double elimination, 18
right.
Double elimination bracket.
Right.
Okay. That's why it goes on forever, huh?
Takes a little while.
Takes a little bit.
For the College World Series, but man, it's fun. That stadium is marvelous in Omaha, and I can't wait for it to get going. It does not make you, in my estimation, a traitor for the Redhawks if you root for Murray State.
Oh, no.
You know what I'm saying?
No.
I'm sure there are people that I don't care. I am not rooting for the Racers. Well, I am rooting for the Racers. It would be cool for the mid-major guy, the little guy.
That's kind of what it's about right now. Yeah, that it's the little guy, the guys that don't get the headlines typically, and that you don't typically see in these situations, and to be able to, it's a team you play against every year, have played against, how many times over the past decades that you've played against. So
billion times.
Yeah. So yeah, I get the whole rivalry side of it, and every once in a while you can say, okay, we when we're playing them, we want to beat them, and there's no doubt about it. But this is a pretty cool story.
I wonder if it's the end of the road at Murray State for their head coach Dan Skirka. I wonder how much money they're going to be able to pool together and what programs might have some interest in Skirka.
I
You
would
hate to say that before they go into playing their biggest game. I mean, you're mildly concerned if you're a Murray State fan, but your supreme focus is on this game tonight at 6.
Yeah, but I mean, game by game that he keeps winning, I mean, his stock is just rising more and more. I don't really know. I don't know what what the job market looks like out there right now, or what openings may be there. But he's also maybe thinking, hey, I love where I'm at. I got a pretty good gig here, and let's see, let's see where this one goes this year and what we can continue to build on in the years to come.
And it depends on the programs that may have interest in Skirka. Does he have interest in them? Andy Sawyers was offered the Creighton job, did not get as much money from SEMO when he got his raise, but when he came back to negotiate, he said, okay, if you can meet them halfway here and we can help our assistant coaches, give them a nice bump. We would like to keep them. They're a big reason that we're having success. And so he took less money to stay at SEMO. Maybe Skirka does something like that. I don't know. He's 40 years old. When you look at him, he doesn't look 40, does he?
No, he doesn't.
He looks early 30s, I think.
But he looks calm and cool every time he's tapping his fingers, tapping his hands,
He just seems like he's a guy who's saying, man, this is why I got into coaching. I am having the ride of my life. We're on house freaking money right here. Let's just soak it all in and enjoy it. And that attitude can trickle to your players.
Sure.
If they see you uptight, Tim Corbin for Vanderbilt, when he was in the dugout, you're seeing these camera shots, some of these big guys with a lot of pressure on them. Vanderbilt was the number 1 seed in the tournament and got ousted by Wright State. You could see the stress on his face and how tight he was. I know he was trying to play that off. But for Skirka, I mean, that attitude has to permeate to his team.
Hey, you and Seth may have brought this up. Did he have previous history with Murray? Like, did he play there, or was he just kind of a no history, got hired like Sawyers did?
I think there was a connection. Maybe he was an assistant at Murray State. I'll research that. I know that information because when I do a broadcast, I've got everybody's bio pulled up. I seem to remember. I mean, SEMO plays so many teams with so many different coaches.
Sure.
And we only play Murray State twice. And I've got a printed bio, things that I highlight to talk about for each coach. I'm pretty sure he had an assistant coaching history with Murray State. Pretty sure. And I'm fired up to watch this game. Now, I will be watching or I will be following it on my laptop. Don't know yet because I know we got a lot of rain here last night. The Fighting Squirrels were rained out again on Saturday. Their 2 baseball games on Saturday got rained out. So they have scheduled a doubleheader today at 5:30 in Chaffee. And so we'll be there to broadcast if the field allows. I don't know how much rain they got at Harmon Field in Chaffee. Don't know. I'm sure they'll be out there this morning. They'll be taking a look at the field. If the field conditions allow, the Squirrels will be playing, and I'll be following the game on my laptop. If not, then I'll be watching the Racers and the Duke Blue Devils, 6 o'clock.
That's pretty awesome.
I think it's going to be fun.
On the big, the only show in town, so to speak, for college baseball tonight. So that will be fun.
Well, they get all the attention.
Yeah.
This is just great national pub for, first of all, Murray State. Secondly, for Duke, who, when you think of Duke, you think of men's basketball.
Yeah, that's basically it.
But
soccer, maybe lacrosse.
You can see they've been having a lot of success in baseball, and so that gives them a little bit of a spotlight. I mean, this is a massive recruiting tool for both of these programs to be on national television with Omaha on the line. And you get a little exposure to Duke. I didn't know much about Duke's baseball program, and I broadcast college baseball. I knew they were good. I knew they were ranked, but I know a little bit more now. You know, they're hosting a super regional. So I found out more about Duke. I didn't really need to know a lot about Duke because SEMO's not going to play him.
Yeah. Kind of a neat, looked like a neat little setting there with the stadium, kind of in a wooded area. And field looked really nice. I think that was all turf they were playing on.
Yeah,
but
they're turf.
But it looked like a nice kind of just tucked away field in the woods somewhere. And yeah, you don't hear a lot about their baseball program, but they're obviously making huge strides.
This is such a big event for both of these schools, and a pretty good thing for college baseball in this country. We like to root for the underdog. I'm telling you, most of the people that are going to be tuned into this game that do not have a rooting interest with Duke or the ACC, they're going to be rooting for the Racers, right? Aren't you going to root for the little guy tonight? And I'm not just talking about us. I'm talking about people who are college baseball fans that will be tuning into this game. They'll be cheering like crazy for Murray State.
Well, and let's face it. You mentioned basketball. There's a love-hate with Duke.
There is a hate with Duke. Let's face it. I was a Duke fan since I was little. Back in the day when they had Danny Ferry and Abu Abdelnabi and Johnny Dawkins, that was pre-Leitner, Hurley, all those guys, Grant Hill. Before they won those back-to-back titles, I used to like Duke back in the day, so I've always been a Duke Blue Devils fan, so I know about the hate for the Duke Blue Devils.
So all it takes is to see that it doesn't matter the sport, but that it's Duke, and you're going to have a lot of people just go, hope they lose, hope they lose, hope they lose. Come on, Murray.
I think so. When you are talking about the NBA Finals up against a tennis match, who would have thought that the main story nationally in sports was the tennis over the NBA Finals? Would you have guessed that?
No, but it's happened, hasn't it?
This is unbelievable, and tuning in and seeing a lot of this match, Carlos Alcaraz against the number one seed and world number one, Yannick Sinner, who had been rolling. I mean, he's playing really, really well. So this is how it goes. The match goes 5 hours, 29 minutes. The longest French Open men's final in the Open era, and it's the second longest men's Grand Slam final ever. And if you are not familiar with how it transpired at Roland Garros, Alcaraz was down 2-0, Mike. In the third set, he was down 5-3 and down 40 love. He avoids 3 match points, comes back to win the game, win the set, and win the final 2 with a tiebreaker in the 5th.
Wow.
And he won the tiebreaker 10-2. 5 hours, 29 minutes. He saves 3 consecutive match points. That has not happened, surviving consecutive match points, since Novak Djokovic did it at Wimbledon in 2019. That was the last time that in a major final, the guy who won avoided multiple match points. One of the all-time great finals matches and one of the great French Open matches in the history of the sport.
How long was the match? 5 hours and
5 hours and 29 minutes.
Jeez. They both just must have been
exhausted.
Just done. I mean,
and if you watched it, it wasn't so much that Sinner collapsed. I mean, it went after Center won the first 2 sets. It was the last 2 sets were 7-6, 7-6. I mean, they were tightly contested. It's not like Center just, dropped the final 2 sets, love, and won.
Right.
I mean, so it can be a great comeback that does not include a collapse. If you want to say there was some collapsing in there, be my guest. But Alcaraz just outplayed Center, and Center did not play poorly. He just got outplayed. It was unbelievable. And Brian Anderson called it on TNT.
Time has arrived. Time since Center had match point, hour and 43 and counting. Alcaraz was that close to being done. And here he is. Championship point in a 5th set tiebreak.
S'il vous plaît.
Carlos Alcaraz reigns in Roland Garros.
6-7, 6-4, 7-6, 7-6.
Great call. Brian Anderson, very versatile guy. Does television for the Milwaukee Brewers, but obviously he's got fill-ins because he does the NBA, does the college basketball men's tournament. He's doing tennis.
Doing everything.
Yeah, I really like Brian Anderson.
Yeah.
And so there it was. I mean, one of the all-time great Grand Slam finals yesterday, and it overshadowed what we had in the NBA because the Thunder, after getting shocked by the Pacers in Game 1, Pacers led for 0.3 of a second in Game 1. They had never led. Halliburton hits the shot with 0.3 of a second to
the
go.
final 0.3 is what they led for, right?
That was it.
That was it.
Shortest ever amount of time ever led in a NBA Finals game. And so they were 9.5-point underdogs for that game. They were 11-point underdogs for Game 2. So the Thunder, massive favorites, and they covered easily. 123-107, not really competitive, and not really a big shock that Indiana was going to lose Game 2. I mean, and you don't take any credit away from Oklahoma City, and you don't say, well, the Pacers, they just kind of went through the motions, but they got blown out. But they did what they needed to do, won a game on the road, so technically, quote unquote, home court advantage.
They kind of held serve, so to speak.
Yeah.
I think that's the first time haven't they won both games of each series that they've been in? They basically start on the road, haven't they? Most every game,
Yeah.
or most every series.
Yeah.
I think they're 2-0 in every series except for this one now to start their run.
Correct.
But yeah, they have it at 1-1 and but man, Oklahoma, they're tough. I mean. Indiana pulled one out, obviously,
Yes.
Game 1, and then
I've been on the Indiana bandwagon.
I know,
but
yeah, I thought yesterday was a little more indicative of what it may look like throughout the series.
It could.
But you go home now, and you never know what will happen at home, obviously, but it's a pretty lopsided win yesterday.
I also think you see why some people say, okay, Tyrese Halliburton is an all-star. He's a terrific player. He's not a superstar like Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, right? I mean, he's just not consistent enough. He just wasn't there in the first 2 quarters and into the third. Then he, started to play much better and help them in the score column. But that was a pretty thorough beating by Oklahoma City, and I'm looking at the line this morning, Mike. 5.5-point favorites, Oklahoma City, in Indy, Gainbridge Fieldhouse. It'll be Wednesday night. Again, it's an ABC vehicle, 7:30.
Are all these games now, is it 2 days between? Because the opening night was Thursday, then you had Sunday, and now you've got Sunday, and then Wednesday.
What's interesting is they're playing Wednesday, Friday.
They are, okay, Wednesday, Friday,
and then Monday, 2 days off. Thursday, potentially, if they need a game 6, and then Thursday, Sunday for game 7.
So they're all 2 days off, other than
except
this
between
week.
games 3 and 4.
Yeah.
Interesting.
It is.
And we've got game 3 of the Stanley Cup Finals tonight. And the Florida Panthers, in double overtime, even the series at a game apiece in Edmonton. How about this series? Both games, OT. Edmonton winning the first, Florida Panthers winning the second.
What did you say? I don't know, a couple weeks ago, you were like, Edmonton is the best offensive team in the Western Conference, and Florida is in the Eastern. And
right.
They've obviously squared off in the past in the Stanley Cup Finals, so I think this is shaping up to be the final that you thought it might.
Now, I don't bet, and I don't really understand betting lines and all of that stuff. I do understand when I see that the Oklahoma City Thunder are 5.5-point favorites for Game 3. I don't know. I'm looking for tonight. It will be in Sunrise, so Florida's home ice, and Florida is a minus 140 favorite. I don't know what that means. They're favored in this game tonight.
On home ice.
Yeah. So, there you go. So we'll be keeping an eye on that. That's 7 o'clock. You got the Murray State game, and you've got Cardinal baseball. The red-hot Toronto Blue Jays come to Busch, and what I perceive is a pretty big start for Andre Palante, who's really been struggling, Mike, but a good weekend for the St. Louis Cardinals, taking 2 of 3 from the Dodgers and nearly shut them out in the first 2 games. It was 5-0 behind Sonny Gray Friday, 2-1 on Saturday in a really well-pitched game, and the Cardinals ran into some tough luck in the 9th inning. Helsley with the Ohtani hit that went up the middle and hit second base.
Yeah.
And then the wild pitch, which allowed the Dodgers to score their lone run. And then the pop-up single down the left field line by Arenado when the Dodgers had 5 infielders and nobody was covering the line in the outfield. Probably was deep enough for a sacrifice fly, so they were probably going to win it, even if the Dodgers were playing with a 3-man outfield. But those were 2 really, really good wins. And that first run that the Cardinals got on the hustle play by Mason Wynn, beating the throw at the plate from Freddie Freeman as he just kept running on an infield single, scoring from second base, forcing the Dodgers to throw him out at the plate, and they could not do it. That was a fun game. That was one of the more fun games of the year, and Jess Bolin would have loved that game. 2-1. Those are his type of games.
I couldn't believe we were at a graduation party earlier in the afternoon, so didn't see a ton of the first part of the game.
Right.
And I keep saying it's 0-0. I knew it was what Yamamoto was throwing for the Dodgers.
He is filthy.
We had 9 strikeouts, I think. I mean,
he's got, not only does he have his fastball, he's got a curveball, he's got a slider, and this split finger, man, the awkward swings and misses where you as a fan are sitting there going, why are you swinging at that pitch? It bounced.
Because you can see it start to drop.
Like he threw 3 in a row to Nootbaar.
Yeah.
And Nootbaar, he knew it was coming. He couldn't hit it. It's because that's why Bruce Suter's in the Hall of Fame. It is a fastball, and it's coming in the zone. It looks like a fastball. He's throwing it at 91, and then it just dives out of sight. It's a lot easier to say, why are you swinging at that garbage, than it is to get in the box. These are professional hitters, man. That's just how good that pitch is. I mean, it is. It is straight filth.
If you're at Busch, I remember actually being at Busch watching Clayton Kershaw pitch years ago, and you're sitting, I don't know, sitting right field side or whatnot, and
he's got an unbelievable slider and an unbelievable curveball. Not a lot of guys have plus curves and sliders. They've got one or the other.
And his it's the same type of deal. It's like it's straight. The hitter goes to swing, and you start as the fan, you can see the ball starting to drop, and you're like, no, and then whoop, right over the top of it.
It's unreal.
It's just nothing you can do about it.
And it was Kershaw yesterday.
Yeah.
He gets the job done. Kershaw clearly showing that he's got a little bit left in the tank. So for Kershaw yesterday, it is 5 innings, 1 run, 7 strikeouts. He threw 82 pitches. Did the Cardinals fire him up with extra motivation before the game?
Before the game.
Before the game. They tried to ruffle his feathers, okay? They showed a rather infamous moment on the big video board in his career, the 2014 National League Divisional Series, and they showed clips of Matt Adams hitting a 3-run homer off of Kershaw in 2014. After the game, Kershaw was asked about it. Quote, I think it's a little Bush League, but I don't expect anything less from these guys. So it's no worries. He won the game. They won the game.
Yeah.
But the quote again from Kershaw, I think it's a little bit Bush League, but I don't expect anything less from these guys. So it's no worries. Did the Cardinals fire him up with that?
Well, I mean, it could have been a little bit of motivation, I guess. Being the pro that he is, obviously, and the pride that he has in his career.
Do you take issue with him having a problem with it?
Nah. No. It's just, it's that gamesmanship stuff, It's
who would not have let them play that on the big screen had he known it was going to be played?
Who would have not?
Yes.
No, I don't.
His name is Tony La Russa.
Oh, well, very true.
La Russa, Do you remember when he went a weekend without talking to the Post-Dispatch? He boycotted them for 1 weekend when the Cubs came in because someone for the Post-Dispatch, I don't know if it was Hummel or Gould, I don't know who wrote a column, and I don't think it was either one of those guys. I think it was a columnist, not a beat reporter like Derek Gould or the late Rick Hummel.
Right.
Wrote a derogatory story about the Cubs. It inflamed La Russa because he thought it was Bush League and was extra motivation for the Chicago Cubs. He did not like it, and for that weekend, he would not talk to the St. Louis Post-Dispatch. Had La Russa known, and he was in that dugout skippering the Cardinals, that they were going to do that, it would not have happened with Tony La Russa. I can't prove it. I'm just saying, I don't think it would have flown with La Russa.
Do you think there's any communication between the stadium and what they're going to do on the big screen
I don't know.
And the dugout? Like, do you think Marmol had any idea that was going to happen? Because I would imagine he might say the same thing. It's like, no, we don't want to give them any extra, motivation or whatever the case may be. I don't know if there's
But when you're getting crowds, and they got crowds this weekend rivaling biggest crowds since opening day, basically.
Right.
You're going to want to do everything you can to fire up your fan base.
Sure.
And by winning those first two, that certainly fired them up. And a move like that fires up the fan base. They don't care, right? I mean, you watch that, and
Yeah.
you're fired up as a fan, right?
Yeah, absolutely. And I mean, like you say, I mean, they had, number one, they've had a little bit of a struggle, engaging the fan base. So, with the wins, first two wins, you got it. And do whatever you can to kind of prod the opponent to try to win game number 3, which I thought they were going to, they kept kind of, they were fighting back like they had been and just got too far behind to do much with it. But
Michael McGreevy, an opportunity to come up and be in the rotation. Now, there are some Cardinal fans that immediately went on social media. So what time is his bus trip back to Memphis today? Because there is a big portion of the Cardinal fan base that wants McGreevy here and in the rotation, and especially 6-man rotation during this time where you've got one more off day in the entire month of June. So I don't know that he's going back to Memphis, but it was not a terrible start for McGreevy.
I looked ahead, and if you look down the road at the starting matchups, he's listed as getting a start, I think, against the White Sox, I believe, would it be? Or would it be Milwaukee, I guess? So I know you had brought up the 6-man rotation, and it sounds like, Milwaukee on Saturday, he's listed as a starter for the Cardinals.
See, I'm looking at ESPN, and they list the future pitching probables. And on ESPN, on the Cardinals schedule page, they have no one listed Saturday against the Brewers for the Cardinals.
CBS
got
Sports.
Aaron Savali for Milwaukee. So CBS Sports
Sports has McGreevy versus Savali for Saturday.
Okay.
But they could just be trying to put 2 and 2 together and thinking that he's going to be there. But
so it may not be breaking news from CBS Sports.
right.
Yeah. So tonight, it's Andre Palante, and he has really struggled. Jose Barrios, right-hander, going for Toronto, who's 2-2 with a 367, and Toronto couldn't finish off a sweep yesterday. They lost, but they have won 8 of their last 10, Mike. They are tied for second behind the Yankees with the Tampa Bay Rays, who have won 7 of 10. Toronto and Tampa Bay are hot, and this may not be the best time to catch the Blue Jays. Just saying, this is a team that is hot and playing very well right now.
Well, Cardinals have done well against the good teams, right? They have the second best record against teams over 500. I believe.
500, right?
Yeah. So another good test for the Cardinals, but it seems like they've been up to the test against the better teams, and I know we've talked about it. Others have talked about it. Can they beat the good teams? Well, that's who they're beating. I mean, they've scuffed a little bit against the Royals, but all those games seemed for the most part, seemed pretty winnable for the Cardinals. It just didn't pan out. But Dodgers, obviously one of the best teams in baseball, and
they just
got the series win.
They just split 4 with the Mets.
Dodgers had.
Yes.
Yeah.
The Cardinals are 21-17 against teams who are over 500.
You'll take that, right?
It's a very good record. And it's 7 games over 500 right now for the Cards. I think is 8 games their
high watermark.
Well, they were 8. Yeah.
I believe that's right.
Yeah. I think 8 games over is their high water mark. I don't know if they've gotten to 9 over 500, but they're 36-29, 4 behind the Cubs, who, by the way, lost 2 of 3 in Detroit. I don't know if you saw the video of Cubs second baseman Nico Horner getting punched out on a called third strike by the home plate umpire in Detroit. The pitch was out of the box. It was not a strike. And Horner turns and says something to the home plate umpire, and literally within 3 seconds, he is thrown out of the game. Craig Counsell comes out, argues for his player. Horner goes back to the dugout, and eventually Counsell, and you're reading lips, and you can hear a little bit of sound bites. You can find that video, obviously, on the internet or on social media as well. And it didn't look like Counsell dropped an F-bomb or used any profanity. But Nico Horner, after the game in the clubhouse, responding to the question, what did you say to the umpire before he tossed you? Here's Horner.
Yeah. I mean, I don't think it's really that often you can verbatim say to the press afterwards, like, what got you thrown out? So I said, you're having a really bad day.
Were you
That's it. That's what he said. And when you go back and look at the video, that's what he said.
So it's not always...
You're having a really bad day.
It doesn't always take the magic words.
No.
It can be... magic words can come in a different variety, I guess. You're having a really bad day.
An immediate heave-ho. So, there you go.
I mean, how did he know that? How did the umpire know that he was referring to baseball whenever he made that statement to him? Could have felt like, hey, I noticed you're kind of down the dumps.
I guess technically
you're having a really bad day,
having a rough one. And this is coming on the heels of the story we had last week that MLB Commissioner Rob Manfred said he is introducing the ABS system for next year, and sources that are close to the MLB front office believe they have the votes.
Well,
so that means, if that story's accurate, there will be ABS. Like that would have been challenged, and the Cubs would have won the challenge. I don't know how the game turned out. They only scored 1 run. They weren't going to win yesterday, but
right.
Still, we have seen this. I gave you last week Laz Diaz, who probably has taken the mantle from Angel Hernandez as the worst umpire in Major League Baseball, followed closely by C.B. Buckner. Laz Diaz called a pitch that was 7.5 inches off the plate, strike 3. It is the worst call in terms of actual measurements of the season, and the worst strike 3 call by a home plate umpire since Angel Hernandez. Can you imagine? 7.5 inches off the plate.
That's pretty big discrepancy.
Oh my goodness!
The
video, you would be what? Yeah. I can't remember what teams. I know I've got it here somewhere because I usually keep it on my feed here. Okay, here it is. I'm sorry. I gave Laz Diaz a raw deal. It was 6.83 inches off the plate. I'm sorry. I had the wrong actual measurement, but give you a look at it.
Yeah.
Okay, you didn't see with the box. There you go. You can see it with the box now.
Unbelievable.
This is great radio.
Unbelievable.
But I knew I had it on my feed here, so I was able to recall it. But he took the crown from Angel Hernandez for the worst called strikeout in the history of Umpire Auditor history. Umpire Auditor is an account that I follow on Twitter, formerly Twitter, now X. And it was, well, you just watched it. What'd you think?
Just a bit outside.
Just a bit outside.
Just a bit outside.
And I know we got to get to a commercial break here, but have you been following what is happening in Atlanta, Georgia?
No.
It is a 7-game losing streak for the Atlanta Braves.
Oh.
They are now 10 games under 500. The other night, 2 nights ago, they called up Craig Kimbrell from AAA Gwinnett.
I did see that. Yes, this is the Braves that were up like 10-3 against the Diamondbacks in the 9th inning and blew it.
Right.
Those Braves? Okay.
Those are the Braves.
Yeah.
And so they called up Kimbrell. He didn't have a great inning. He gave up a hit, a walk, but it was a scoreless inning. He didn't give up any runs. And I think they got a pick off at first, and then the catcher picked somebody off. So, he's living a charmed life in that particular inning.
Yeah.
But his inability to throw strikes basically is why he's still in the minor leagues, even though he's still got the velo. He can throw 98 gas. So they call him up. There's lots of fanfare. He's their all-time saves leader. He hadn't pitched for him, I think, since 2014. So it's been a long time. And so there was a little hoopla about the all-time saves leader getting called back up. Met the media before the game, and, how's it feel, blah, blah, blah. And then after the game, they designated him for assignment. They also designated for assignment one of the relievers that helped them blow that 7-run lead in the 9th inning against the Diamondbacks. Guy's name is Blewett. It's a perfect name because he did. They DFA'd him, and they called up former SEMO Red Hawk Dylan Dodd. I don't think Dodd pitched Saturday or Sunday. In fact, I'm pretty sure he didn't. I looked at the box scores, but Dylan Dodd back in the bigs, I think, as maybe a reliever, a lefty coming out of the pen. But then, they're making all kinds of roster moves, so I don't know how long Dodd is going to be up. I don't know if he's going to get a legitimate shot here. But they had lost 6 games in a row, and they had a 1-run lead yesterday in the 9th inning in San Francisco. And I can feel the pain of the Braves broadcaster, Brandon Gowden, here in the 9th inning.
Deep to left. Oh, my. At the wall. It's gone. The Giants win it 3-2. And Atlanta drops another one.
That is a broadcaster that is down in the dumps. I've been there. I've been there when you hit those losing streaks, and what else can you say?
Yeah, can't say much.
Walk-off home run, Matt Chapman, and that is the ball game for Atlanta, 7 in a row. All right, we've got to take a timeout. I know you've got things to do as the guy that wears the big hat here in the building. And so we will get a chance to check in with you, I guess, later in the week. We've got SEMO Ball in studio tomorrow, and Brady Barkey to talk about the House settlement. How does it affect college athletics in his estimation? How does it affect SEMO, mid-majors, all of that good stuff? So we've got all of that on the table for tomorrow. So at least on paper, we will see you on Wednesday.
Sounds good.
All right. That's the lead singer of the Mike Rennick Band. Stay tuned. Quick timeout, Sports Huddle, wrapping it up when we come back. It's the Sports Huddle on SEMO ESPN, 1220 AM, 93.5 FM, and online at SEMOESPN.com. Don't forget, we've got Squirrels baseball if the field in Chaffee is playable after the rain that we got last night. Squirrels are playing a doubleheader, 5:30 at Harmon Field in Chaffee. That game is available on our sister station, doubleheader, KSIM Radio, or you can listen through our app. It is the KSIM app. You can find it just by searching the App Store, KSIM Radio. Cardinal baseball tonight, and it's going to be a 6:45 game. Andre Palante, Jose Barrios for Toronto. Blue Jays are red hot. Cardinals just took 2 of 3 from the world champs. Murray State plays at 6 o'clock for a chance to go to Omaha and the College World Series. It is the only college baseball game in action today. Everybody else has advanced to Omaha. All the super regionals are over except for the one in Durham, North Carolina. Murray State Duke, 6 p.m. on the big ESPN. And Game 3 of the Stanley Cup Finals tonight, TNT, 7 o'clock in Florida. Panthers and Oilers tied 1-1. Both of the first 2 games have gone into overtime, including a double overtime thriller in game number 2. We'll get much more into the SEMO Ball Awards, the spring nominees for the SEMO Ball Awards. They will be in studio tomorrow, so we'll have all of those nominees for you. Brady Barkey, Director of Athletics at Southeast Missouri State, talking about the House settlement and how that goes and how it affects college athletics in his estimation and how it affects Southeast Missouri State University athletics. He will join us tomorrow, so you want to be there for that. And, of course, we hope that you enjoy the rest of your Monday. Clinton and friends coming up next. We'll talk to you tomorrow. Enjoy your Monday, everybody.